No Joel Friday today. No Joel Friday today. He's live Monday through Thursday, at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Very nice. And American Anchor Baby is live Monday through Thursday at a noonish Pacific time. And that is going to be at 4 p.m. today. 4 p.m. American Anchor Baby. Nice. So what are we going to talk about today on Hake? I have... Oh, you guys liked that one track that I played at the end of yesterday's show, No Temptation, by Brian Wood from an old Christian punk album. Old meaning 1998. It's not that old. By 121. So I'm sharing it. I'm sharing the MP3 because I can't find it anywhere on the internet except for listed on a discography website. So what a mess. So I just posted it in the live chat for you guys. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or DLive or Discord, which is not really a place to watch online. So I have some cool music to play for you guys today. News throughout the week, maybe a little bit more about Biden, because he posted a weird Elmo tweet. Some calls to get to, and we'll just have a loosey-goosey Friday show. How about that? It's interesting how some of you guys don't really... You hear something that I say, and this applies to all of life, and you jump to conclusions about what I mean. Like yesterday I said... The supposed R-word victim went up to Mike Tyson's room at 1 a.m, and two of you people said, that's not a reason for her to R-word her. I'm like, I was suggesting that it wasn't actual R-word, it was the consensual, but degenerate, admittedly, consensual S-word. So that's one example, and another example is, well, maybe I'll think about it later, because I don't want to get too carried away in this intro here. I kind of want to think of it right now, though, because it's, the other one was the Virgin Mary did not remain a virgin after she, got married and started having kids with Joseph. She started having kids with Joseph after she had Jesus. So she was not a virgin after that. And so one of the ladies was like, hey, she was a virgin, but not afterwards. Some people think that she was even a virgin forever, for her whole life. Don't think so, because Jesus had siblings, I think. Your mother and brothers are here to see you. Who are my mother and brothers and sisters? Jesus said. It's in the Bible. And I've gone through that with friends. It's something that everybody falls prey to. Anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying this beautiful beach scenery and an overcast day in San Clemente, San Onofre, California. Beautiful there, if you're watching the video feed. And enjoying the AJ Gallardo original. This is the original theme song.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how you guys doing? I'm fine. I have my Obvious Globe t-shirt on. Obvious Globe. That you can get yours. If you're a flat earther, you can get it to mock me, or if you're a ball tard like me, you can get it to to show your flat Earth friends / fiends. So it's nice. You can go to thehakereport.creator-spring.com. Or thehakereport.com and look for the Teespring link in the menu there. Very nice. Very, very, very nice. Right on. Somebody said, Hake, you look 10 pounds heavier in that shirt. It's because it's a nice, heavy shirt. And it's, I got this one that's the thicker one. It's not the upscale, fancy-dancy t-shirt. And it doesn't stretch as much. It's a little bit thicker. I think it's Gildan or something. What does that say? Can you guys read that? What does it say? Can you zoom in on that, Hassan? I'm just curious if it's readable. I think. Oh, I don't know if he can do it because that would be from something else. Don't do it.
I just don't know. I haven't learned how to do it with this.
Oh, okay. Anyway, it's not important. We're wasting time. What a mess. Thanks for trying though, Hassan. Don't even worry about it. Hake just being silly. I don't want to say the S word. Oopid stay. Let me get to a call, guys. First-time caller, Scott in Nebraska, is on the line. How you doing, Scott?
I'm good, man. How you doing, Mr. Hake?
I'm fine.
How's California?
It's beautiful.
we were recently on a ban list from your state.
You were on a banned list? Banned from traveling to us?
No, our state was on a ban list from your representatives coming to our state. Because we had passed 574 here in our state.
What's 574?
It prohibits the sexual experimentation on minors that's been very prevalent in our culture as of late.
Oh, which is to say the transgender mess on
Yes,
children, like the hormone blockers, stuff
correct.
like that.
Well, I don't even use their words, though, because I don't believe, if you don't believe that a girl can actually be turned into a boy or a boy can be turned into a girl,
right?
You don't see transgenderism. You just see torture of children. I just see a bunch of crimes against humanity and people who hate God or hate their own existence. I don't know what to call it.
That's fair.
Yeah, man,
I like
crazy.
that.
Yeah, bro. One way of looking at it, I think, is what do they call it? Munchausen syndrome.
Oh, where the mother sort of lives vicariously through the child or something gross like that.
They'll keep the child at risk in order to make themselves feel useful. In order to, it's a mental disorder. Like I've talked to a number of senators actually about this same stuff. One of them told me he thinks that a new term that they've just coined called malignant narcissism or narcissist disorder. And I'd say it's probably akin to like Munchausen. Like you torture your child so that you can be a hero because you have some kind of hero complex.
Yeah. I mean, how do you spell that? Do you know how to? I hate
Munchaus. I don't know. Munchausen.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's. Yeah, I think you're right. ENSEN.
Yeah. But I mean, it's an interesting concept that you. One of the things that you can do if you want to try and hold these people to account is always challenge them on the language because it's always hidden in the language.
Right.
It's a manipulation of like gender affirming. What does that mean?
I know gender affirming would be no son or no young man. You are a young man.
You are not a girl.
Right.
That's right. Gender affirming.
That's what affirming a gender is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. They are so communist.
Like the inverse.
That's the same thing with
of the language.
Yep, racism, all those things. Racism was a lie made up to call being a nation a bad thing.
Yeah, they had man, like you ever watch Bill Maher?
I've seen bits and pieces of him, yeah.
And so he had Bernie Sanders. Was Bernie Sanders the socialist from out east?
Yes.
Bernie Sanders. Okay. He had Bernie on there. And he challenged Bernie, like, okay, well, what do you see as the difference between equality and equity? And he had to think about it for a minute. He was like, that's a good one because these people don't pay close attention to the words and they will promote things that they really don't know what they're promoting.
Right.
The equality and equity are like antithetical to each other.
That's so true.
Equity is, it's definitionally, it's like a compensatory practice.
Right.
So I'm going to take some of what you got and give it to Sally. That's the opposite of equality by law.
And
Like
honestly,
equality by law.
equality is thrown around in ways that it never was even meant to be. Like,
Yes, sir.
we're just supposed to be treated the same based on
Right.
how we act, depending.
Right.
The way if you kill somebody under these circumstances in this way, you get this punishment, no matter who you are. But
Well,
it's not like that.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Well, it is overused. The word equality is being overused because the only way it should be used in American society is equality under the law.
Right.
That the law treats us all equally when we come through a court system or something, or you come into interaction with some kind of facet of the law.
Yeah.
It should treat us the same, but that's about it. Like, other than that, you shouldn't keep hearing people overusing this. But see, there's like a root to this. See, I'm a consultant, but I'm a human rights consultant. So everybody has their own special interest, and they try and partner, human rights with their particular agenda.
Uh-huh.
Now, human rights are, what was established by the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights after World War II.
Do you believe in human rights?
Yes, sir. I believe that there are human rights that we are given by the nature of our humanity that are given us by God that can't be restricted by the government. I believe there's something outside of civil rights called human rights.
Can you?
An example of like Article 3 is the right to life, and so I'm a pro-life guy. And we just stopped abortions in our state, or we pushed them back.
Yeah.
So anything past 6 weeks. And we just had a big right to life march on the 27th on my daughter's birthday, just last week. So.
Whoa! Don't dox. But anyway, so what are?
Well, that's what I was saying. So I was a consultant, and I got retained by. See, I'm not into politics. Like I'm just a parent. I'm just a father, like a real simple guy, bro. Yes, and I don't like getting caught up in a whole bunch of stuff that doesn't concern me. So I never paid attention to politics. What I come to find out was I had somebody retain me as a consultant for a campaign. It was a political campaign. Now, I wasn't working with these people to try and help them win elections, but they told me that they wanted a better understanding of civil rights. And so I worked with them as a consultant on that issue. And I remember I was sitting and eating lunch. The candidates were cool. The candidates I worked with, they were all good people. But, they got these grassroots campaigns, or not the grassroots, I guess. It's the opposite of a grassroots, because instead of building from the bottom to the top, it builds from the top to the bottom. So they have to put people in place that they don't really know that well. And I was sitting eating lunch with this girl, and she was like, so why do they have you on this campaign? Like, you're a consultant? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, so what do you do? And I was like, well, civil rights consultation, stuff like, and she was like, okay, so she was like what they're doing with the LGBTQ. I was like, no. I was like, more like I was like, it's more like pushing back against things like the separation of water fountains or something like that, that would be something like separation of dining or schools, or like what Joe Biden's been an avid advocate for segregation his whole time in government. And so I'm not for segregation. I'm an integrationist. I believe people can live together. I believe there's no such thing as race, that we're all one human race, and genetic markers don't exist for that according to anthropologists and geneticists. So race is all made up.
But shouldn't local towns be allowed to segregate their neighborhoods without the larger governments like the state or the federal government getting involved?
Like housing neighborhoods?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you do whatever, like the neighborhood association, or.
Yeah, the neighborhood or the city or whatever, the men of the area, shouldn't they enforce things how they want it to be, whether it's segregated or integrated or not, and not have the state impose, the state or the government or the federal government impose, or the county?
I'd say if you had a community that you could define definitively, like give boundaries to. Then yeah, you could talk about that. Like, hey, we want, this is a Christian community. We're Christian here.
Yeah.
And we have Christian beliefs, and we don't. But if you're saying according to skin tone or phenotype, those are hard to. How do you say where one race stops and another race begins? You know what I mean? What do you do?
Let them figure that out.
Right.
And then if If you're ambiguous, then just watch out. You go, be like, am I
If
okay
you're
here?
ambiguous, you can just float around. You go wherever.
You could walk
But,
around there. You just can't live there.
There you go. But no, this kind of like the larger point I was making was when I worked with these people, she was like trying to attach these two agendas, I guess. You know, like
Oh,
the
yeah.
desegregation of water fountains is the same as the LGBTQ. I say, hey, look, they might have some similarities, but they're not the same.
Right.
And I was like, you know, asking for uninhibited sexual liberation to do whatever you want. You can't act like we haven't restricted sexual behavior in our society. It's always been restricted. It's been restricted by law.
Right.
So the idea that love is love, that's nonsense. I don't want to hear that. And so I told her that, and she was like, oh. And she looked down at my hand, and I have on my forefinger, I have a crucifix with Jesus on it.
Uh-huh.
And so she looked down and goes, oh, you're one of them. I said, what? And I said, yeah, I'm a Christian. And she was like, okay. And then she was quiet the rest of the time. And so I was like, we got done eating lunch, and I said, hey, you know, I'm about to take off. I got a couple errands to run, but I'll see you guys tomorrow. And they said, actually, we're good. And I was like, well, I'll see you later this week then. They said, actually, we're good the whole week. And I was like, oh, okay, because I was volunteering my time. And I was like, you know what? Don't even worry about it. It's cool. And then the candidate's reaching out to me like, hey, man, how you been lately? Like, you don't even know, man. You don't stay in touch with your people. Your people are weird. I don't even mess with them no more.
Yeah. That's interesting, man. Yeah, so you're trying to influence politicians to be for normal racial equality or whatever.
Yeah.
And then these people are pushing equality for all the degenerate stuff mixed in with all of the normal race stuff.
Right. And this is what I noticed was they came to me. Now these are Democrats. Like I said, I'm not trying to help them win elections, but I was trying to help them understand a specific problem. And they come to me like they trying to get a better understanding of civil rights.
Right.
And so in order to do that, I'm like, my bad, my nephew just come to the car. He was going to ask probably, I don't know, for a cigarette or what. I just kind of like waved him off, like, get up out of here, man. Look, I'm on the phone. But no, they said they come and ask for a better understanding of civil rights because they want to make sure that people have equal opportunity and all this. And I started to realize that's not what they're doing. The more that you talk to these people, they're using this stuff as a tool. They use it to win elections and they oppress people with it. It's all BS.
Yeah.
And they don't really have their heart in trying to resolve any of these problems. I noticed that real quick. But after that happened, you know, you ever heard of shooting the messenger? So you can give these people bad news. Like, I don't have an agenda. You know what I mean? My agenda is for the preservation of humanity. Like that's my agenda. That's my special interest. I'm a humanitarian. And so if people try and push their agendas on me and they don't intersect well, you know what I mean, we're at odds, then I'm going to come down on the side of human rights. And so I told these people, like, not messing with y'all no more. And I thought that after that, the government started my state, people in our state and stuff, because I work in the humanities sector.
In Nebraska?
Yeah, and it's on the left. The humanities sector is definitionally, it's on the left. And so I'm a conservative, so I always get a little pushback in my sector. But after I started telling these people what's what in politics, they started coming after my family. And I was like, oh, man, this is nonsense. So I go to, because the Democrats had asked me for help as a consultant. So I go to the Republicans in my state. Because like I said, I don't know anything about politics. I don't even vote. I don't pay attention to it. It's not my problem. I try and stay out of it. And that was how I was living until this. And so I go to the Republicans in my state. I'm like, why are you guys messing with me? And they said, messing with you who? And I said, you know who I am. Why are you messing with my family? And I help these people, and those are your enemies. So now you're attacking me by proxy. And they said, we don't know who you are. I said, well, you guys are Republicans, right? And they said, yeah. And I said, so, well, what do the Republicans believe in? They said, we believe in live and let live. And I was like, oh, yeah? And then it was like, oh, my goodness, this guy is trying to park. See, you know what, though? Case in point, man, I know you guys talk about the immigration issue a lot. And a lot of people that immigrate to our country illegally that don't come the right way, they can't drive.
Oh, I know that.
Man, it caused a lot of problems. There's wrecks everywhere and all
True.
that. And I see this guy trying to park right now. I'm like, oh, my God, please don't hit my car. Because he's trying.
Scott, I got to run, man. It's interesting
Man, he
hearing
just got
from you. Call me
bumper to
again.
bumper with me. All right, brother. I appreciate you, man. It's nice talking to you, man. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye. Oh, he got me, man. He's quick. He's a professional. Hake's an amateur. He got me with that click. The click of the hang-up. Thank you, Scott in Nebraska. William in California is on the line. William, what's up, man? How you doing?
All right. How you doing? Hey, I don't want to hold you up too much, but I forgot what I called about yesterday. My man Joe in Phoenix out there, you guys were talking about the numbers as far as the crime and everything. But
Right.
what I forgot to tell you is that
Joe in Phoenix wanted to deny that the blacks are 7, 8, 9 times more frequently per capita resisting arrest than the other races up in San Francisco area.
maybe,
Yeah.
but I mean,
No, that's the numbers from a
Joe.
report a few years ago.
Oh yeah. Well, just I mean, I respect what Joe says. Be cool.
I don't.
But I mean,
I respect Joe as a
I don't have to
person.
agree with him. I don't have to agree with him everything and attack him or nothing. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying I respect him.
Yeah,
But
I
look,
respect
Joe-
him. I don't respect anything he says.
Oh yeah, maybe that.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe, there's not even 850,000 people in San Francisco. It's really small, and only not even 45,000 are black. So they wouldn't be able to fill up the Giants ballpark. But if you ask me who's doing the crime, what would you think?
It would be disproportionately the blacks.
Per capita, right?
Yeah. I mean, even like Joe even admitted in his phone call when John from Kentucky called in earlier this week that half the violent crimes roughly are by blacks, even though they're 13% of the population plus or minus.
Yeah, well, there's 6% in San Francisco. So that's, go figure.
Crazy.
Take it from there.
Yeah. What a mess. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for clarifying that. Was he
I
acting
totally
like...
blanked out, and I forgot I was going to, because you guys were talking about that, and I'm like, well, remember they closing stores like, you wouldn't believe out there. They're Walgreens, they're Safeway, they're
Right.
CVS's,
Yep.
and they're not having medication for these senior citizens. But, like I said, who's doing this is their congregation's children.
Yeah.
Grandchildren by now. They're probably grandchildren,
Yep.
And then you see the chains on the refrigerators because they're smashing and grabbing everything. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not even 50,000 blacks in San Francisco.
Yeah. It's
out of 800,000.
It's really out of control, and it's really untold numbers because most of crime, I would hazard a guess that most crimes people get away with most crimes.
Well, not only that, it's the way they report it out there too.
Yeah.
If it's a crime and it's black, they'll say it's a crime.
Right.
They will not distinguish whether or not it's what ethnicity. Put it
Yeah,
this way,
because the media has an agenda to protect the blacks from repentance.
Right.
They're a
You know
mama.
what I'm saying? The way they report it is if they don't mention the ethnicity, you kind of know it's like black.
No, not you don't know,
Not
but
100%,
yeah.
not 100%, but most of the time when they don't mention the ethnicity of the person with the crime, this is how the Bay Area reports their news, I'm telling you.
Yeah, no, when it's interracial, if it's an interracial crime, if it's a white on
report
black,
it.
they'll mention it. Other
They'll
than that,
mention
they
it.
pretty much won't.
They won't be right.
They won't.
Right.
They'll
That's how they do
put it in the headline or the
Right.
top early lines of the story.
Exactly.
If it's like Derek Chauvin had nothing to do with it,
Exactly.
George Zimmerman had nothing to do with it, and whatever else.
I mean, yeah, like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Crazy.
All right, man. Hey, take it easy and have a good weekend.
All right, you too, William in California.
All
Take
right.
care.
All right.
Bye. Okay, so there's been a lot of news happening throughout the week that I'd like to touch on because it's sort of interesting, and I didn't really get to touch on them. Harvard is doing a civil rights lawsuit against the Muslims. I told you this on Tuesday in Hake News. A federal civil rights complaint filed Monday against Harvard University on behalf of Muslim and Palestinian, students who say the school failed to protect them, as if it's the job of the school to protect you from harassment and intimidation. You're gonna get First of all, harassment is a woman word, but people do nag you. There are such a thing as naggers. Indeed, there are naggers even in the chat. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to the naggers. Don't hate the naggers. And intimidation. Intimidation. Women get intimidated easily, and then they turn around and try to use the government to intimidate you. Or the school to intimidate you. Whatever they can. So much for strong, independent women, huh? This complaint alleges students faced rampant harassment and racist attacks, including doxing, stalking, and assault, simply for being Palestinian Muslim and supporters of Palestinian rights. I thought these schools had high standards of sensible people who can see a person and not make assumptions about that person. Guess not. Guess not. They see a white man speaking plainly about the blacks, they think, a white man must be racist. You sound like a racist, which there's no even such thing. It's just somebody telling the truth about the situation. People in their heads. I talked about that earlier at the beginning of the show. People in their heads. Hake said, does it change your mind at all? Does it make you pause to know that the woman, according to Trump, went up to Mike Tyson's room decades back when he was accused of the R word against some woman, that the woman went up to his room, Mike Tyson's room, at 1 o'clock in the morning. That doesn't mean he gets to R word her. That's not what I'm saying. Think for yourself. Pause. Stop jumping to quick conclusions. But CARE is involved in this victimhood mess. CARE, my opinion, have they done anything good in America? You guys heard of CAIR? C-A-I-R. Council on American-Islamic Relations. JLP has interviewed people from CAIR and MPAC, Muslim Political Action Committee or something like that. They said the U.S. has experienced a relentless wave of anti-Muslim and anti-Palestinian hate since October 7th, Hamas attack on Israel. So Hamas, Muslim guys in Palestine, running Palestine with a hard fist, not giving the Palestinians much rights to protest against them, according to the stories. I could be mistaken. The organization said they got 3,500 complaints of bias and discrimination from October to December 2023. I think this is sort of a reticular activator. Somebody tells you to notice something. Oh, I'm noticing hatred towards me. Where you wouldn't really notice it, but they're calling attention to it, so you're going to notice it more. You're going to imagine that you're noticing it more. Oh, they're hating me because I'm a Muslim. Remember when the Asians were getting attacked? Which I doubt that they've stopped attacking them, right? You know, blacks frequently will attack Asians on the street. It was covered even by Colin Flaherty, who died a few years ago now, or a couple of years ago at least. And it seemed like maybe after he died, they finally started covering this because of the China virus. Oh, actually, maybe Colin Flaherty was still alive. But because of the China virus, and Trump called it the China virus, they're like, oh, hey, stuff is happening. But it had been happening ever before Trump. Before Trump. It had been happening, the attacks on Asians. Because Asians, oftentimes, if they're elderly and they're walking in the street, they look weak. And a lot of times, these blacks who do the knockout game will attack the weak, the vulnerable, the unsuspecting. It's like a mountain lion. You know, in the wild animal will attack the straggler, the person catch them unawares. If you're vigilant, if you're looking around, they won't attack you. They're less likely. And if you're tall and strong looking, making a lot of noise, throwing rocks at the mountain lion, the wild animal, it won't attack. But if it can sneak up on you, it'll get you. Same thing with the attacks on the street, the knockout games and things like that. They mostly go after the people who can't defend themselves and are unsuspecting. It's crazy. But the dishonesty was, oh, these Asians getting attacked and they're suffering things like, the main thing that they were suffering was shunning. Or shunning. Shunning is in your imagination. I feel shunned. Because most of the time, people are not going to say, oh, you're Asian? And then, say, I'm shunning you. I had one friend tell me he experienced racism. He was Asian. They put me in the corner of the restaurant, way over in the corner. And he thinks it's because he's Asian. And he has no idea whether that's why. People in their heads. So same thing with the Muslims. But diversity is a strength. Satan feeding these people's imagination. And mostly, I think that it's Asians and, this case of the Muslims, it's the Muslims and Jewish people getting all mad at each other. And then the people who have a beef with Muslims or people who have a beef with the Jewish people, the Jews, also getting involved in stuff that doesn't concern them, except that these people are in our country, blocking traffic, shutting down freeways, and protesting about stuff that should not concern them or us. Foreigners. Shout out to the foreigners. You see the Armenians doing it. You see all these different people doing these protests about their home countries, if you will, in our country. What a mess. I think we should not be getting involved in it. It's ridiculous. And then I'll get back to calls. I read in Hake News today about the UNRWA, something like that, UN Relief and Works Agency, something like that, for Palestine. It's been since 1949 they established that thing, after the 1948 Palestinian War or whatever. It's around the time that they founded Israel, right? 1 year older than JLP. They established this organization and 20 countries stopped funding it. So how many countries fund this agency that supports so-called Palestinian refugees and others? Refugees from 75 years going? After 75 years, you still can't take care of yourself? You gotta find a way. You gotta find a way to take care of yourself. But no, they're getting taken care of. It sounds like to me, if I'm not mistaken, Pretty crazy. So they're getting defunded, at least pause in the funding, because allegedly, according to Israel, which who knows, according to Israel, 13 out of the 1,300 employees were in the Hamas attacks in some capacity. Those Hamas attacks on Israel. What a mess. And we're funding that. All of that is creating this mama taking care of people while these people fight the war. It's only enabling the war. It's only enabling these people not to be able to take care of themselves. Get away, get to safety. Hake doesn't know that Israel is creating refugees, says Usename. You're not very bright, Usename. You're not very bright. You don't have to be taking care of them. Don't be taking care of them. Because you're only allowing this to continue. It's like subsidizing the war welfare of Ukraine, in my opinion. Subsidizing the war welfare. Subsidizing these people not taking care of themselves. Nobody wants these people, it sounds like. The neighboring countries, Egypt, what's that other one? I forget. All these other countries that are sort of neighboring, Jordan maybe, neighboring to Israel and Gaza and Palestine and all that stuff, they don't want those Palestinians. Why don't they want them? Because they're raised badly. They're so potentially problematic. Problematic. It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango. So people blaming Israel for everything, like Frederica. Israel's 100% to blame. Buddy, it takes two to tango. If they didn't do anything to Israel, Israel wouldn't do anything to them. Or else they would just overrun them and take them over. Lay down and take it if you can't fight. But they want to fight. So let them fight. Let them fight and don't enable it, I say. Because this enabling from these outside people, all of this funding for these different countries and funding for these different refugees, all this do-gooder mama stuff, is causing more problems, I say. That's what I say. David's a first-time caller in Kansas City, Missouri. David, what's up? How you doing?
Hi, Hake. I'm doing great.
Nice. Right on.
I was calling. First, I really enjoy the show. I thank you and JLP and Nick. You guys are awesome. You probably see me in chat sometimes as Internet Manster.
Hey.
I don't know if you ever remember.
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Hey. I wanted to just give my opinion real quick about just a couple of things that are just popping on the internet and just get your feedback. You and I are similar in age, and I just feel like I like watching guys that are similar in my age because I feel like we are on kind of similar wavelengths. So I just wanted to get your feedback on first the James O'Keefe thing. Recently, he got that White House staffer to talk about stuff. Are you familiar with what I'm talking about?
I know a little bit. James O'Keefe, formerly of Project Veritas, his company that he founded, but now he's on his own thing because his people betrayed him, which is so common. Now he did a secret video where he pretended to go on a gay date with this guy. He went undercover, pretended to be a gay guy, dating this guy who's in in the Biden administration, like a tech security guy. And the guy is gossiping about his job, and people don't want Kamala Harris. Biden is on decline, and Michelle Obama doesn't want the job of trying to run for president. Right?
Right. So what's the big shocker? We all know that, you know?
Yeah. That happens a lot that happens sometimes with O'Keefe and people in general. A lot of these headlines are like, okay, big wow. Like this.
Yeah. And I love James, and I'm not trying to harp on another channel or anything, but I love James O'Keefe.
Yeah.
But I just don't see the big shocker in his videos, so I just kind of wanted to throw that out.
People were saying that it was cruel of him to pull that on that poor gay staffer, but the gay staffer had no business. Maybe they're right. I don't know. I don't care enough to have an opinion about the situation. You know, of what they did to that guy. They kind of embarrassed that guy. But he embarrassed himself.
Yeah.
He had no business talking. If what he said was, if he's embarrassed about what he said, he shouldn't have been saying it, in short.
Precisely. He starts it off with, they like me because I'm so trustworthy. And then he just starts spilling the beans.
That's funny.
So I just thought it was kind of a nothing burger, in my opinion.
Yeah, it was a dud.
Felt like it's just kind of tabloids.
Yeah. And he was acting the night before, like he posted, "Oh, if I die," or something like that. If they're gonna try to kill me, but this is my job. It's my mission not to just play it safe, you know. And granted, it takes some guts on some level to go undercover like that and then put that out there. But
well, he's like, I don't care if they try to kill me. Over what?
Right.
Stuff that everybody knows. I don't think the Biden staff or White House are going to go hunting for James O'Keefe over this. Maybe something different, but not this.
Yeah. And they've gone after him hard before. They've gone after him and the other group, Center for Medical, something like that. Center for Medical Progress, I think. They were the ones who exposed the selling of baby body parts. That was several years ago. Center for Medical Progress. Yeah. There was this other undercover group who were pro-life. David DeLayden, back in 2013, he founded it and went undercover and found that Planned Parenthood was, or some of the people in Planned Parenthood were allegedly talking about getting money for selling the body parts that they kill them. What else are they going to do but make some money off of it? Let's make some money.
Right?
Crazy. But they say, these are selectively edited videos. Or no, they don't say selectively edited. They say highly edited videos, as if the videos are dishonest in their portrayal of what's going on. But it's an honest portrayal of what's going on, of the worst of what's going on. At least that they caught.
Well, it does expose that they're very oblivious. I mean, the guy sat right there face to face with James O'Keefe and had no idea what
I know. That's pretty interesting, because James O'Keefe is a fairly prominent and hated figure in even the mainstream media.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, aside from that, because to me that's just a nothing burger, but something that's relevant I was hoping to get your opinion on was who do you think would be Donald Trump's VP?
Man, I suspect we'll be surprised. Because what else? Because he likes to be unpredictable, and we pretty much know it's not going to be the last guy. You know, the
Pence.
Mike Pence.
Yeah, we won't see him anymore.
I doubt it will be Ramaswamy. I kind of hope not, because
no, you can't have two alpha dogs up there. No, that'd be ridiculous. That would be a bad move, in my opinion. I actually think, I think Trump might choose. I'm not saying I like this choice.
Right.
I actually don't like this choice, but I think a safe move would be Kari Lake.
Is she the one from Arizona who's been catching? I don't think that would be a safe move, because she's pretty hated. Is she the Arizona one who claimed
yes. Yeah.
Claimed election shenanigans?
She's very supportive of the border policy, and she's really hated for that. She's the one who lost to Hobbs, I think. And
Katie Hobbs or something.
She tried to claim all this fraud and stuff, and it just kind of got her a lot of bad publicity. But she's always been very loyal and supportive of Trump. But, we've seen that before, and it quickly changes. But she seems kind of like a safe choice to me. She's female. She's supportive of the border policy. She's very supportive of Trump. Yeah. And I don't know. It would seem like a safer choice to me. She's not as popular as Trump,
Hassan thinks it's going to be Sarah Palin, and he's willing to bet.
That'd be a wild card.
I know. I've heard Kristi Noem. Remember Kristi Noem of one of the Dakotas? The one that has the Mount Rushmore? It's one of the Dakotas, right? I think she's from one of the Dakotas. But I hope that it's not a woman. But, we'll see what happens.
It's just, I think right now we need to bring back some, people forget what conservatism is.
Right.
They think it's all about money. No, it's also about our values and our traditions.
Yeah.
And I think we need some of that back, some of our old values and traditions. One of the things I love so much about Jesse and he really helped me find some of those values and traditions in me, and it's been a great. I found you and Jesse probably 10 years ago.
Nice.
And it was cool watching your development through the show and seeing all the other hosts come and go. And I enjoy seeing the progress of the show. I really hope to see Jesse chronicle his show someday so I could get it for my children one day to watch, but we'll see.
Cool. Interesting. Chronicle meaning have like the full volume set available somehow.
Yeah, a lifetime set of just
A full archive. Interesting.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be
thank
pretty
you,
cool.
Hake. It's been great to talk to you. I gotta go, but I really enjoyed talking to you.
Thank you, David. Call me again sometime.
All right, take care, buddy.
All right. Bye. Daniel in Texas is on the line. Daniel, how are you doing, man?
I'm well, James. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
You frequently say harassment is a female term.
Yeah.
Can you? Well, I guess I'll just tell you what's on my mind.
Okay.
What? This might have to do with. Well, I don't know. It's a military term. It has multiple definitions, but one of which is a military term. Okay. And, for example, harassing supply lines or harassing typically what it means is it's kind of a guerrilla warfare tactic.
Yeah.
It's when a lesser force attacks a stronger force, and the point is to have successes in disrupting the ability of the larger force to conduct it's basically a sabotage operation.
Yeah.
So typically in sabotage, that's more of a treachery. That's more of betrayal. Whereas harassment is when a known enemy combatant harasses an opposing larger force.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So by all means, if you are being harassed, call it what it is. Like I would say Donald Trump is being harassed by these women.
Right. Yeah.
So I guess in that term, it is a woman word.
Yeah. It is a woman trait to harass somebody, because a man would just mind his own business, leave it alone, or he would speak his mind and drop it, wouldn't continually try to be a nagger. Exceptions to the rule, you know. There's times for like a prophet. Sometimes there's in the Bible there's been prophets who were naggers to the corrupt kings, and some of those corrupt kings tried to throw them in jail or behead them or were kind of antagonistic to them. So that's interesting, man.
Yeah.
The women have stolen it and misused it, so that's what I mean by a woman word. And these victim-minded people, when the Muslims and Palestinians accuse the Harvard University of not protecting them from harassment by people who are in the area or something like that, they don't. I wonder whether they consider themselves a greater force or a lesser force, that they can't handle that harassment.
Well, let's put it this way: harassment campaigns are done because they are successful.
Yeah.
You know, there are many famous examples of harassment campaigns that have led to great success. And you know, for example, the Confederates needed to harass the Union because it's a larger force. Yeah. And you know, Jubal Early was famous for his harassment campaigns. He was in the he took the Second Corps of Lee's army, and he went into the Shenandoah Valley, and he led a very successful harassment campaign against the Federals in 1864, to the point where it brought Union morale to its lowest point in the war.
I could imagine. Yeah. Because you're disrupting their. It's like the supply chain crisis. You're debilitating the economy, if you will, of the northern armies and stuff.
To the point where he had orders from Lee he had a list of things that he had to do, and he fulfilled every single one of these requirements and more. And part of it was to distract Grant's army from using its full momentum against the Army of Northern Virginia. Wow. And Lincoln was so concerned about it that he asked Grant to come to send a large portion of his army to come defend Washington, D.C., and Grant said, well, I'll send some, but I'm not going to send the whole thing,
Yeah.
And so in that regard, he was successful. However, the campaign ended in an absolute disaster for Jubal Early, as Sheridan was tasked with handling Jubal Early. And at the time, Jubal Early was faced with a commander that was kind of out of his depth in dealing with Jubal Early and his harassment. And he was basically replaced by Sheridan. And Grant told Sheridan, do not attack unless you know you can win. We can't afford a loss against what is happening here because it would be disastrous. And when commanders are saying that things would be disastrous, it usually means this will lead to defeat. So do not attack Jubal Early unless you know you can win.
Wow.
Sheridan let Jubal Early do his harassment. He let him move freely in the valley. Jubal Early got very built up on his ego because he felt like he was totally in control of the valley.
Yeah.
But Sheridan was letting him get away with things until he got him in a point where he knew that he could crush Jubal Early.
Wow.
And that's exactly what he did. He just battered Jubal Early's small army of the valley, and Jubal Early's command was just absolutely broken. Absolutely broken.
Whoa.
And my point of all this, the moral of the story is, if you're going to engage against somebody who's harassing you, you have to engage in a way that you will absolutely win.
Yeah.
So you need to look for those opportunities, and when those opportunities come, you should take them.
Yeah.
When somebody is harassing you, when somebody is antagonizing you, and you see an ability to get rid of this antagonistic behavior once and for all, you should do it. So
Interesting, man. Cool. Yeah. Thank you for the history lesson and the alternative perspective, the original perspective of the word harassment. Is it harassment or harassment?
I say harassment.
Yeah, me too. Nice, man.
Okay.
Take care, man.
You too. Bye.
Daniel in Texas. Wow. Al in Tennessee is on the line. Al, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you, Hake?
I'm doing fine. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, same here. I was just listening to you talk about a good running mate for Donald Trump.
Okay.
I think a good sleeper would be Byron Donalds.
Byron.
And the reason why.
Byron Donalds?
Yeah, he's from Florida.
I know that he's that black guy. Byron Donalds,
yes.
U.S. representative from Florida. Okay, congressman. He's 45, sort of a young buck.
Yes.
Does he have the qualifications to take over were Trump to be, incapacitated ever? God forbid.
Personally, in my opinion, I think he would be a good study, and Trump would be a good mentor for him.
Okay.
And I think he would be someone that would follow in Trump's footsteps. He's a pro-Trump guy. I don't trust women because they change with their emotions.
Yep.
And I don't trust, just like Nome up in South Dakota, she flip-flopped on the gay issue. Kari Lake, she'd be a good press secretary. Stefanik, I wouldn't trust her. I just think any of the other guys, like people were saying Tim Scott is soft. No one respects him.
Yeah.
But Byron Donalds is firm.
Okay.
He destroys people when he's on in interviews. He's steadily protecting and defending Trump and the Republican stance, and he protects the conservative stance.
Okay.
And you don't see too many people doing that.
I don't like the fact that he's black.
Well,
if you know what I mean. I don't know if he's into the black thing at all. I'm not familiar with him all that much. It feels like a kiss up to the blacks to grab this black guy, and he's sort of young.
Well, I'm going to go full circle on
Go ahead.
I'm going to double back on you. Byron Donalds is able to strike back at people who will contend that you chose him because he was black.
Yeah.
He can defend himself on that, and the fact that he's a black male. You can't say that the Republicans are racist. You can't say that Trump is racist. You're going to have the black females looking at him saying, "Hey, he's a."
You can.
He's an attractive black
People
male.
still will because they'll say, "Oh, that's a token."
Yeah, but then,
they'll say it racist no matter what. It doesn't matter. You can say it. You can still say it.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's not going to be like a Tim Scott that's just going to sit there and take that, because he can come back around and say, "Well, look at all the tokens that you guys have placed in the Democrat Party that are unqualified."
They're all tokens. Like they're all. It's like Token City.
Yeah, and my thing with black conservatives, and I'm sorry, I'm a black conservative.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is,
nice. I didn't know that.
But the thing is, when you're talking to many of them, it's like the black woman that was trying to run in New York. She's a Democrat now, is trying to run as a Republican.
Yeah, she's Israeli. She's like Somali Israeli or something.
Somalian.
Yeah.
Somalian
Jewish gal.
They're not vetting these people. They're just taking them at their word. There were people that Trump had endorsed, and they turned on it.
Yeah.
So you just can't trust these black Democrats who now all of a sudden want to be conservative. You can't trust them. You have to vet them and say, hey, where do you stand on these things? And what is your record of, supporting these things?
Yeah.
And I think we should do that with all Republicans or people who call themselves Republicans. There needs to be a litmus test to say, prove that you're a conservative and we'll vote for you. Because right now we're just voting for people who just have an R behind their name. And when they get in office, we're surprised that, they don't have those values. Well, the Democrats, they hold people to their feet to the fire. If you don't vote liberal, if you don't support abortion and all these other silly things that harm society, they hold you to the fire.
Yeah.
And if you vote against them, they'll primary you.
That's
and
so
Republicans are too scared to do that.
Yeah, look at Kristen Sinema. Remember Kristen Sinema, the female from Arizona? She was sort of a liberal. She was the first bisexual or whatever, senator or something like that. And she turned out to be somewhat reasonable to the right on certain things, and they hated her. I don't know if she's even still in office. I forget.
No, I think she's running as an independent.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So it's like we, as conservatives, if you want to bring America somewhat back to the right and bring some morality to this country, you're going to have to vote for people who hold the same values. You can't vote for people like Mitt Romney. Yeah. I don't understand how he keeps getting put in office. But the thing is, it shows how people aren't paying attention to who they're voting for. Yeah.
I mean, look at Joe Biden. I think all he did was rub people's elbows and sniff their hair and squint his eyes and say, "My son Bo, he died too." So you know how those blacks, there were some blacks who got killed in a drone strike overseas. And Trump made one of the mothers of those black soldiers cry. I think it was two women and a man who were killed. And I think he called her, or I don't know. I didn't really read about it. But he's a phony, point is, he's a phony politician who is able to ingratiate himself with these people. And maybe it's name recognition, and he plays along with the establishment, so the establishment doesn't try to destroy him. The media doesn't really try to destroy him. So people are suckers.
But I think when it comes to Donald Trump, he's walking a very thin line.
How so?
The thing is, because he doesn't have the support. If Trump gets into office, he has to have the House and the Senate. If not, he's not going to get anything done.
Oh, true.
Just like in the House right now, it's taking forever to get an impeachment of Mayorkas. It's taking forever to impeach Joe Biden. Because you got rhinos.
They should have impeached. They should have impeached Biden over the border, not this dumb stuff about his business dealings. Impeach him about real stuff, the failure to do his job. But anyway.
Yeah, but there's so many things that you can impeach him over. Yeah. But the thing is, you don't have Republicans with the stomach to do their job. Yeah. Now, if you flip it, Democrats, you say impeach someone, they're like, oh, yeah, we're all for it.
Right. They want to impeach him before he even gets in office.
Yes.
They were trying to impeach him.
They have the
Trump.
numbers.
Yeah. And the shamelessness. They really don't care. Yes. Yep. And they have the media on their side. They have they use black liberals who have no shame at being openly political and Well, I mean, look at the people bringing charges and these cases against Trump. It's these black gals from Atlanta and New York City and that black guy from I forget where.
And they're all corrupt.
Yeah.
They're all corrupt. And the thing is, when you say black and Democrat, you just say corrupt at the same time.
Right.
They participate in government like they participate in churches. They think the government runs like a church, which is poorly managed.
Oh, yeah.
And there's nothing beneath them.
Yeah.
And they don't understand. And I guarantee you, 98% of black people don't understand politics whatsoever. Yeah. And
True.
if you want to challenge that, I will say, well, look at Africa. They don't have a functioning government to save their life. It's all the same thing. You have people who really haven't studied and haven't what did you say? What's the word? They haven't immersed themselves into understanding government and economics.
You know what?
You can't.
Yeah, I think the exceptions to the token rule, if you will, is not always Republicans, because black Republicans are often whatever too, pushovers too. But there are exceptions. Look at Justice Clarence Thomas. He's a solid guy. I think he's the most unshakable justice and maybe most intelligent, one of the most intelligent justices on the Supreme Court.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
So
But
maybe
the thing
Byron
is-
Donalds would be something like that. I have nothing against anything that I've ever heard him say. I can't really name anything that I've heard him say. I just don't know him.
And the fact that you just said that they're not going to find anything on him either.
Interesting.
So they can go and dig in his past, and they're not going to find anything. So that's why I say he's a good guy. He will be a good guy to run for 8 years. And if he keeps Trump around to guide him and to push the right policies and say, we could probably correct the problems in this country. And if he's a likable guy, and you get him to get out there and help control the House and the Senate, we can see some changes. But right now, you need to have people telling what the Democrats are doing to this country instead of sitting back or going along with the flow.
It's
Because
really
they're attacking her.
It's like what JLP says. It's a one-party system, though. There's no difference between most of the Republicans and the Democrats, other than in lip service only. It's just lip service, and then they end up going along.
But is it the politicians' fault, or is it the citizens? Because
It's reflective
most people
of us.
Don't understand. Yes.
Yeah,
You get the government you vote for.
We're mostly a weak people. There's not much cream of the crop. I think that Trump's pick is going to be somebody that we didn't predict, that none of us would have thought. But I could be wrong.
Everyone's guessing. And for me, I say Byron Donalds. I looked at all the other people. I like Vivek, but Vivek, the media has beat him up so much.
I want him for press secretary. I don't like these female press secretaries.
I think it would be great. But
he beats up on the media.
Yes, he does. But the thing is, he would be great for this country because he goes beyond what Trump says as far as the Constitution and also bringing back morality. And we need that. But the thing is, he's Indian. And what's going on over in the UK with that Indian prime minister, and he's bringing in all the Indians into the country.
Wow.
I think people will see that and also see that he's an Indian. They see him as a foreigner, and he wouldn't dare vote for him. Plus, he came out with that Obama spiel in the beginning, and that kind of threw people off as well.
Yeah, he said something that was very similar to what Obama said, huh? I don't remember what exactly it was, but
he said the guy with the funny name.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So
I think he knew what he was doing, but it just didn't come off well for some reason.
No.
Yeah.
I think if they use him as an advisor, he would be very strong. Mm-hmm. He should be in the cabinet somewhere.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I respect him
smart guy.
I respect him in a lot of different ways.
Yeah. So there's the trough for the Republicans is deep. You have a lot of people you can pull from to say, okay, this would be a strong candidate. Democrats have no one.
I know, it's terrible. But they'll it's a mess. And yet they have everyone.
We have such good candidates. We have such candidates, but we're not selling them.
Yeah.
They're not putting him out there saying, "Hey," but also
I don't know if we have any good candidates. For me, it's really Trump or nobody. And then I don't even know I don't know who would be a good VP pick. You've named Byron Donalds. I'm not sold on him being a good VP pick. I know at 45 isn't supposed to be young, but nowadays it is young, and you know what I mean. Most of us are immature at an older and older and older age, and he just seems like his look is still sort of a young look. So
well, I saw him on that at the Trump town hall, and how he destroyed the the CNN panel. And I said, "Wow, that guy held his own." And he just picked them apart. And I said, you don't find people that can do that.
Now, doing a good job with the media is one thing, and it's great. It's a great thing, but being successful and weathering the storm, and being all that stuff. Hank is an immature 42-year-old, indeed. Ned Post, case in point. Somebody called me a man-child the other day, and I'm like, well, I can't really deny it, but. That's why I kind of like these old-timers like Trump, who's stood the test of time and really gotten better with time, because he wasn't really ready in 2011.
But are we being real? I was having this discussion with my wife. You're not going to find anyone like Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Donald Trump has KMA money, and he doesn't have to bow to anyone.
Kiss my blink money.
Yes.
I've heard of it as bleep you money, but yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So the thing that they know they can't really do anything to him. You can't bribe him.
Yeah.
And just like with Nikki Haley, she's bought and paid for. Ron DeSantis bought and paid. Anyone that's not Trump is bought and paid for.
You think DeSantis
because they don't have the resources? Of course, he's bought. He can't fund his own campaign.
My impression of him, which I can't say what's going on behind him, and I don't really keep up. I don't really research these people. But when I look at him speak, he just comes off as sort of weak, sort of just repeating Christian lines and the right political lines, and not ready. I would love for him to grow and go through the storms and improve and not be such a beta with his wife and stuff, which I don't know if he is, but he seems like it.
You'll be waiting for nothing, because the people that have been candidates, people like who was the first billionaire that ran, Ross Perot.
Oh yeah.
You couldn't tell him what to do.
Right.
He had his own agenda. He held his own against the media and all the other politicians. Trump came along, held his own against the media and all the other politicians, and he did what he wanted. Now Vivek comes along. Is he a
billionaire? He's very rich, right?
Yes, he is.
Wow.
Yes, he is. So you cannot control those people. They don't need the donors. So if you are someone who needs the donors, then I can't trust you, because you're going to do the bidding of your donor.
Yeah.
And I think American people need to understand, if these people are requiring money, they're going to kowtow to the people who are funding them.
Yeah.
So this is why Nikki Haley is still in the race, because someone says, "Hey, Nikki, we're going to fund you. Keep running, because we need to smear Trump as much as possible to make you look good."
Yeah, she's so phony. She makes herself look worse. Man,
yes, she does. She's a clown.
Al in Tennessee, it's been fun talking with you. I hope you call again sometime soon.
Will do, Hake.
All right, take care.
Have a good one.
You too.
All righty. Bye.
Man, I'm way past the top of the hour. I feel like taking like another call before I get to the music. Is that okay with you guys? Joe in Phoenix, Arizona is on the line. How you doing, Joe?
Doing great, James. How are you?
Thank you for holding. I'm fine.
Yeah, I like that call a lot. I like him a lot. Good caller there.
Yeah, he's a sensible black man.
This sensible man is DJ.
Right. I had no idea he was black, and then he told me. I'm like, oh yeah, I can kind of hear it now. I've talked to him before. I just don't picture it.
Yeah. I'm actually calling to agree with your call yesterday about Mike Tyson and the woman who accused him of rape.
Yeah.
2 years prior to accusing Tyson, she accused her high school boyfriend, Wayne Walker, of rape, and then recanted.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
And,
So she recanted a R-word accusation on another guy, and then she turned around and accused Mike Tyson. Did you understand where I was going when I said, according to Trump on Letterman decades back, the woman went up to his room at 1 o'clock in the morning. That sounds like a woman looking for possibly the S word. I could be wrong, but it doesn't sound like a morally upright thing to do, to go to a man's room by yourself at 1 in the morning.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
It's not an
You don't
R
go to
word, that's
Mike
an S
Tyson's,
word.
yeah.
Say again?
You don't go to Mike Tyson's room at 1 in the morning for any other reason than that.
Right. Especially when a man who's a boxer in his 20s or 30s or whatever, height of his career, he's... Anyway, it's so obvious, but people think, oh, that's not an excuse for him to R-word her just because she showed up at his room. I'm like, that's not what I'm saying. People are crazy.
Yeah. No, we agree 100% on that. But here's the real bad news.
Okay.
Alan Dershowitz was Tyson's attorney, and the judge would not let him bring that fact in that she already falsely accused someone else of rape before.
Wow.
It was excluded in his trial. Which is
See
just
these
ridiculous.
judges. Why?
Yep.
What was the? Do you remember the reasoning behind that, as you recall?
He said it'd be prejudicial to the jury.
Yeah, which it would, but there's room for taking a little bit of an extra grain of salt. What
It's
was
a fact, though. Yeah.
what was
exactly.
how did they convict him? What was the piece of so-called evidence that they convicted him on?
It was a he said, she said trial, basically. So
How-
it's just her word versus his word.
And it's a criminal trial?
Well, Tyson went to jail for I forget how many years.
Right.
And
That's a criminal trial.
In the prime of his career, he lost years because of one accusation.
Yeah. I remember Trump
she'd already
tweeted
done
that
it
he got
before.
railroaded. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. And she had already falsely accused her high school boyfriend because she was afraid her dad would find out that she had ass.
Oh, yeah.
In high school.
Yeah, back in those days, you're not supposed to be having the S word out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
And was she a black woman or a white woman or what? Do you know?
Black woman.
A black woman.
Black woman. Yep. Anyway.
Yeah.
One last thing. I won't keep you.
All right.
Remember how we talked about how they're going after Alex Jones civilly first, and then the criminal will come? If
Okay.
you look at what's happening in the trial, it hasn't happened yet, but they're talking about it, and it may not happen, but they're looking at criminal perjury charges against Alex Jones that could lead to 10 years in jail.
Wow. They're trying to bury him. It's wild to me how they're trying to destroy their spiritual enemies. It's not just political enemies, they're spiritual enemies, such as Alex Jones, Trump. It's just relentless. All he's doing is harassing them, militarily speaking. He's harassing a bigger power called the government and the establishment, mainstream media, and the liberals are useful pawns. The families of for example, of the victims of that mass shooting. Is it all related to that mass shooting thing?
It was all related to his comments about Sandy Hook, yeah.
About Sandy Hook. That's wild.
Because his lawyer, I can't believe this happened, accidentally sent copies of his text from his phones to the prosecution.
I think you told me that.
Yeah, which proved that he was lying on stand when he said he had no knowledge of some of the things he was saying, but he had the text. I couldn't believe his lawyer did that. I mean, if I was Alex Jones, I'd be suing him for malpractice.
Huh.
But we'll see. Again, it may not happen because it is a bit of a long shot, but they are looking at criminal perjury charges against Alex Jones that could lead to 10 years in prison. So just like I said,
to me, even that's sort of like thin. People are such liars all the time, and then it's like selective enforcement, you know?
Oh, sure. Well, but I mean, the text show that he lied on stand, so that is perjury.
Or they
that
the text suggests that he lied on stand. Because
Oh,
I bet you I could read those things and perhaps explain it away if I were so interested.
Yeah, perhaps.
See?
But again, it's another example, James, what I'm trying to tell you. They come for you civilly first, then the criminals follow.
Isn't it supposed to be the other way around? If it's a strong case?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Because this is such a First Amendment case that it's ridiculous, in my opinion.
Alex Jones?
Yeah, because he did not personally, he did not tell anybody to go after those people.
Well, James, you need to read the...
Even if he had told people to go after those people. Say again?
You need to read the incitement to violence laws better.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well...
Yeah, because he was not inciting violence at all, nor was Trump. It's crazy. It's insane.
Well, we disagree on that, but that's okay. Anyway,
yeah, it is okay, because you and I are inconsequential to these cases. It's just two guys arguing about something that has nothing to do with either of us, really.
This is true.
Yeah.
This is true. Anyway, yeah. Wayne Walker. Tyson got railroaded. Anyway, James, have a good day. We'll talk again.
All right, you too. Joe in Phoenix. Okay. Before I get back to calls, it is Fob Friday. Fob Friday. Alex Jones is not Adam Lanza, says Big Bump. Exactly. It's just blaming conservatives for something that liberals do, which is destroy families, encourage anger, encourage single mothers, and separate fathers from the children, which happened to Adam Lanza. And he was an angry, messed up young man. What a mess. Adam Lanza. Not to be confused with Adam Lambert. It's Fob Friday, guys. This is Jacky Cheung. I hope you enjoy it. I know I do. I don't really have high hopes that a lot of you will enjoy it. Oh, do you not see it in the folder there? Oh, we don't have the ability? Hold on. What's up?
It's corrupted.
Oh, my thing is... Okay. Aw, man. Oh, you know what? I know why. What if I rename it Song? I'll rename it Song, refresh, and then redrag it in, and see if that helps. Because I left it as Chinese characters, and maybe the computer's having a hard time with the Chinese characters. So I put Jacky Song. See if that works now, hopefully. Please, come on, baby, come on. In the meantime, let me explain what this track is. Hopefully it works. This is Painfully Waiting for You by Jacky Cheung, which is Ding Dao, wo Xing Tong. So I hope you enjoy it, you musical Philistines, and be right back for the rest of hour 2 and your calls and more fun stuff, hopefully. See you soon.
在這美麗的夜裏，等你等到我心碎，怎麼不見舊愛侶？問問為何我空虛？是我錯失的字句，把你傷透我不對。今晚請你念過去，來將心窩佔據。讓我繼續等下去，等你等到我心碎，星星今晚伴我醉，就像同情我空虛，又在雨中等你，痴痴的我已心碎，眼眶的雨漸隱退，人消失風裏去。等你等你等你，一世一世等你，我真的不願捨棄，很想當天的一切能回味， 想你苦痛，等你等到心痛，無情的北風將我吹送，孤孤單單的我又點用？在這冷漠的夜裏，等你等到我心碎。
Isn't this nice?
始終不見舊愛侶，寂寥別愁各一堆，是我錯失的字句。
Lucas walking into the market
把你傷透我不對，
in Alhambra listening to this. So fitting.
今晚請你念過，
Alhambra has turned Asian.
來將心窩佔據。
SGV.
等你等你等你，一世一世等你，我真的不願捨棄，很想當天的一切能回味。
Jacky Cheung.
想你苦痛，等你等到心痛，無情的北風將我吹送，孤孤單單的我又點動？ 讓我繼續等下去，等你等到我心碎。
Such a great voice.
星星今晚伴我醉，就像同情我空虛，又在雨中等你。痴痴的我心已碎，眼眶的熱情隱退，人消失風裏。
San Onofre Cliffs. That's pretty soft rock, also known as dirt. Well, shout out to Jacky Cheung. Thank you guys for bearing with me through the beautiful music. I have some super chats to read before I get back to calls. Hang tight, callers. I do appreciate you. Someone bought a coffee. It's interesting that you seem to have no issue with citing the disproportionate, quote unquote, black on white Ape-rae stats. Thank you for pig Latining it. I vividly remember a conversation you had with Joe within the context of the Dylan Roof case. Joe said, no, blacks are not ape-raying whites out of control. And you said, yes, they are. So when it's conducive to your argument, you'll cite these stats on the women making the claims against blacks, for example. But in general, you don't believe it's happening? Question mark. I didn't say that. I did not say that I don't believe rapes are happening. You can't have it both ways. I'm not saying believe anything. What I'm saying is, in America, you should have your day in court, not if there's no evidence. If you feel someone is harassing you, for example, you have a chance to go to court and present your case. Maybe you have evidence of your claims. Do you agree with that? What's the difference? I don't know if I answered that one already. But anyway, that was someone's coffee on the thing. And if you've heard me in more calmer circumstances where I am not interrupted by Joe, we're interrupting each other a lot in a conversation. One interrupts another. It just happens. Sometimes people are better than others at that. You're not able to say, now I know white women too are almost as dishonest or maybe even more dishonest or prone to lie as black people, period. Because they lie about, oh, white did this. It was hands up, don't shoot. Stuff like that. Communists lie. SJWs always lie. Hat tip to Vox Day. And women are indeed liars. Maybe white women a little bit less than the other races. They do tend to be a little bit more conservative. And, you know, some people like to stick with the facts of what happened. And some people get in their imaginations or justify lying. It's a shame. But I never made the claim that rape doesn't happen. I just made the claim that a lot of times people lie. And on top of that, above that, whether they're lying or telling the quote-unquote truth, the facts, that they were indeed R-worded, the way they go about it is all wrong. You don't go public with it. Just as, what's his name said, my caller Mark, he called it humility. It's humiliation. You don't want to go through the humiliation of that, and you're not trying to destroy somebody else over it. If you have a problem with the person, go to the person. And if you believe that the law should really be involved, bring the law into it. Other than that, it's nobody else's business, honestly. Nobody else's business. Ralph bought 5 coffees. Hi, hey, Hake. Hope all is well. I appreciate the show. Keep up the great work. Thank you, Ralph. Appreciate that. Barf Boy. Sorry, kids, ladies. Bought a coffee. For some reason, I don't mind saying his name, even though I don't really like that word. Who's the cat that won't cop out when there's danger all about? Shaft. Right on. They say this cat, Shaft, is a bad mother. Shut your mouth. But I'm talking about Shaft. Then we can dig it. He's a complicated man, but no one understands him but his woman, John Shaft. And I don't even know this song, so I'm singing probably the complete wrong melody and whatever. But thank you. Arf Bay boy. Vomit boy. Throw up boy. Throw up young man. Jessica Kerr bought 3 coffees. Happy Friday, Hake. Cool sunglasses emoji, smiling. Thank you, Jesse Kerr. Appreciate the support. Lamps bought our coffee. Hi, James. Any relation to Richard Hake, longtime WNYC radio reporter and host? And yes, James Hake is on fire. I recently came across that name by searching Hake on Wikipedia. And no known relation to Richard Hake. At least not that Richard Hake. Maybe there is, though. And honestly, I don't even think it's my blood name. By blood, maybe I should have been Roe, but maybe that was an old wives' tale. My mother may have told me, like my father's, as I recall, I don't think I dreamed it, but I've left it open that it might have been a dream. My dad said that they found Indian blood, like American Indian, not like Vivek Ramaswamy, but like Blackfoot or Sioux tribe or Cherokee or one of those people. In my grandpa, the doctors found Indian blood in my grandpa. And so we just started doing a little rain dance thing in our family room. And I don't think I dreamed it. I'm pretty sure it really happened. But that could be an old wives' tale too, a la Pocahontas. Not the real one, not the real historical figure, but the one who's alive today, Elizabeth Warren. Crazy. Another quick super chat from Big Bump. Desiree Washington, Mike Tyson accuser, was a beauty pageant contestant and debutante. What's a debutante? A debutante, he says, is to be a virgin while competing. So I believe it was the humiliation that caused her to yell, ape-rape! I'm laughing because I remember we would like roughhouse and pretend to be fighting with your buddies in 7th and 8th grade. And I remember one guy, when he got grabbed by another dude, the guy's all, rape! So I'm not laughing about legitimate ape-ray when it's legitimate. Oftentimes, that's the other thing. People throw around the word ape-ray over anything when it's not actual forcible ape-ray. Shaking my head. Let me calm down with these stories. I could tell more. I could tell more stories that I've heard. Right? Stories that I've heard. But that's crazy. Interesting. May have been the motivation. Man, there was another, a Cash App. There was a Cash App. Did you know Hake has a Cash App? And I'm so bad about my Cash App, so I don't really promote it. But I got a I got one from Latin A. In Cali. Says, you having to deal with R-tards. Oops. With R words. Ray. I feel like saying E-tards, Ray, would be too obvious of a thing. One more. Someone bought another coffee. I'll make the question a little more plain. If you, as an example, felt like someone was harassing you for whatever term you want to use, or whatever term you want to use, you wanted to go to court to get an order saying they must stay away from you. In America, that is something you're able to do. You go to court, present what you have, if you have anything, they make a decision. Do you disagree that we should be able to do that? No, you can. If you're able to convince the court to do it, then fine. I guess some of these things are frivolous, though. What is the difference? Why is that different from an Ape-rae claim? It's not. But the point is, Mark from California and I have no say over saying this should go to court, and we know nothing about the case. And just to clarify, are you saying that black-on-white rape is out of control? You definitely said it was. Is that still your stance? Yeah, blacks do commit the ape-rae far more frequently per capita. Per capita means compared to their share of the population. You run into a random black, they're such and such 4 times more likely to commit it in general, or at least get arrested for it in general, or accused of it or whatever. 4 times more likely, something like that. And then when it's black on white versus white on black is virtually non-existent, and black on white is way, there's like, 20,000 or so, plus or minus, in one of the more recent years that was counted, like 2008. I think after 2008, Obama got in office, and Eric Holder made them stop counting. Because Eric Holder and Obama are dishonest people, and they don't like the truth getting out about what's really going on. They like to pretend that blacks are the victims and not the perpetrators. Well, they are the victims because they are the perpetrators. They perpetrate on one another. Most frequently, of course, and then on others as well, because they have that roots resentment on the whites. So, Mr. or Mrs. or Ms. someone, indeed, you can, just because it's a tiny percentage, it's still out of control. So-called tiny percentage. Ronnie in Ohio is on the line. He's been on hold for quite some time. Thank you, Ronnie, for holding. What's up, man?
Hey, Hake, how's it going today?
Going well. How about you?
Yes, sir. All is well.
Nice.
I wanted to call and kind of weigh in on the topic on who should be Trump's vice presidential, like his running mate.
Okay. Do you support Trump?
I do not.
Oh, okay.
Yep, but I think his best chance at winning this time around instead of losing the Biden like he did last time would be if he chose Nikki Haley.
Oh, Lord. And why do you say that?
She makes the best, she would be the best fit. We already saw Biden and Kamala Harris against Trump and Pence, and that didn't work out in Trump's favor. So he would want to pick somebody else that could tilt the scales in his favor. And Kamala's not going to debate Nikki Haley and be able to say things like, hey, I'm speaking, or I'm speaking for women here, because Nikki Haley is a woman. She's also a woman
Did you think that Mike Pence lost to Kamala Harris in that debate, the vice presidential debate?
He lost enough in that debate for Trump to lose on the main election.
So you think he lost that debate?
Yes, he didn't. He definitely didn't win it. Let me put it that way. Whether he won or lost, he didn't dominate. And I think somebody like Nikki Haley could dominate Kamala.
You know, I did not have high hopes for Mike Pence in that debate, but he's dominated that woman. He steamrolled and stomped. He whooped that trick. He did a, and I'm not a fan of him. I don't know much about him, Mike Pence, I know that he's turned on Trump a bit, seemingly, but he did a great job against Kamala Harris in that thing. You have standard thinking in terms of the woman stuff. I wouldn't fall for that if I were Trump, hopefully.
Okay, so who would he's going to need something. He can't have Mike Pence, obviously. Mike Pence is not going to be his running mate this time. So he's going to need somebody that's going to do a better job than he did against Kamala. We can agree on that, right?
Not necessarily, because I don't think the Kamala was remotely a deciding factor.
Me either, but we're talking specifically on who his vice presidential pick is. So that's why I'm specifically focused on how was the vice presidential race in 2020. And it was close enough in favor of Kamala because she's now the vice president and it's not Mike Pence.
Right. And
so if Trump's going to win or if he's going to perform better in 2024, as far as vice presidents go, he's going to have to pick somebody that can do a better job against Kamala than Mike Pence did. And that's not Kari Lake. That's not Vivek.
I can only
I don't
pray.
Really know anybody else in the party.
I can only pray that it would be someone who did as well against Kamala as Mike Pence did, because Mike Pence did a beautiful job against her. It was a master class, if you will.
And unfortunately for Trump, that's not going to be his running mate this time around.
I know.
So it's got to be somebody
So that's
else.
what I said. I said, I'll trust Trump to make the decision, I guess, and we'll wait and see. And hopefully it's not too cringeworthy of a VP pick.
You don't have anybody that you would hope
not at all.
So I would kind of caution, and again, I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a Democrat either, so I don't have a pony in the race. But look, don't be so short-sighted and only focused on the 2024 election, because chances are whoever he nominates as his VP, if he wins, they're going to most likely be the head of the ticket in 2028.
Possibly.
So you want to make sure that whoever gets in or whoever's running with him is going to be somebody that would at least be seriously considered in 2028, but then also wouldn't bring down the White House and would work against Trump. So it's got whoever he picks for his VP is going to be historic, because it's going to affect the Republican ticket in 2028. So it can't just be, let's just hope he picks somebody good. I think people that are Republican need to really be focused and nominating on who they think should be the next leader of the party.
I have very low hopes for any VP that Trump will pick, that anybody would ever pick, because I don't know anybody who's old enough and solid enough to be a great VP. I say old enough because, Nick Fuentes, he would be great, but he's only like 25 years old, and he's untested. He needs to go through 10 more years at least of trials to be ready. Now, look at Reagan. Reagan had Bush, and then W. Bush. Those were not really good for the country. Reagan was, I think, probably pretty good for the country, and he had nobody else. So what a shame.
And that's my point. Because
so
Reagan,
I don't have high hopes for anybody Trump picks.
Oh, so what would the state of the party be like if Trump had won in 2020 and he wouldn't be eligible to run in 2024? Then who would y'all really be putting y'all's vote behind?
I would be saying that was fun. All right, goodbye America. Because it's Trump. It's thank you, Trump. I appreciate you for loving the country and fighting for the country. We appreciate you, President Trump.
Yeah,
Nick Fuentes,
I'm not
for
mad
VP,
at it.
out of your mind.
I find, that's comedic. That's funny. Again, I would kind of caution against being so short-sighted.
I mean, this country's over. What else is there? And the country's over even whether Trump gets in or not. But Trump will be an influence for good, and hopefully he can help awaken more people by shining a light. As a fellow Christian, he is a light of the world, and he doesn't hide his light under a bushel.
Yeah, y'all kind of flirting with the line of idolatry.
That's not idolatry. Jesus said, "You are the light of the world." That's not idolatry. He said that you are the light of the world. He is referring to whoever he was preaching to. Who was Jesus preaching to when he said, "You are the light of the world"?
Was he preaching to Trump or Biden?
He was preaching. Who was he preaching to? I'm asking.
It was either both or it was neither. It can't be Trump's the light of the world.
No, I'm not. I wasn't talking about. I don't know if Trump or Biden were around back then.
I don't think they were.
You're the one who read the Bible. Who was Jesus preaching to when he said that?
You read the Bible too. That doesn't.
Yeah, I read it too. I read it. Do you know who he was talking to?
He was talking to the people that were there. And none of them are alive. They're all dead now.
I assume that you're right. I guess. I guess I assume you're right. I don't know.
If they're alive, hopefully they can come out from wherever rock they hiding under and let us know what's up.
Because anybody who believes in me will live even if he dies, Jesus said. Something like that, right?
Yeah, that's somewhere in there in one of the chapters in one of those books.
But man, I don't really have high hopes for the country. I just appreciate Trump, and I know that he loves the country, and he's a man for the job, and he's a capable man overall, more than anybody else around that I've seen, that I can tell. So I wish him well, and I appreciate him. And then other than that, just it may sound nihilistic, meaning it's all meaningless. And it kind of is. And so let's just be a light ourselves and hope and put our hope in God and not getting the country back, because it may not come back. It may or may not come back. It's not something who are we to predict the future?
Right. So when you say like our country's over after this, that's predicting the future. So I'm not sure where I know the pessimism comes from Jesse.
No, the pessimism
kind of about being.
It's not just Jesse. Look at the country. Look at where the country's gone. The LGBT stuff is dominant. The racism lies are dominant.
Not.
The woman worship. Well, let me finish. The woman worship is dominant. All that stuff is dominant. And the hatred between the Jews and the anti-Jews is prominent. The hatred between everybody is prominent. All these hatreds and self-indulgent, spoiled, shallow people are prominent. Weak fathers, weak, evil mothers, messed up children, division between the Zoomers, between the women and the young men, is worse than ever. Politically, because women are all political now. So what else? What the races are on decline. The Black Americans and the white Americans are on a major decline. The whites in general. So it's where is the light in the world but Trump and a handful of Christians? JLP.
That's one way to look at it. Yeah. I think it's real easy to focus on the negatives and find the good examples of the negative.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous amounts of examples of the positive, and they're not being highlighted or focused on. I know they don't sell as much. I know controversy sells and choosing sides sells, but I remember Jesse having a sermon about why are you choosing sides?
Right.
And that goes with anything, whether it's politics, race, religion, where you were born, even though you don't have control over where you were born, all of that stuff, it just stems to division, and pessimism and all that stuff lead to fighting and division. That's why I don't really ascribe to the pessimism and the negative outlook saying, we're trending downward.
Jesus admitted, and then the economy's a mess. Bill West is saying Hake is naming distractions. It's in decline because it's a debt-based system designed to fail. There's all kinds of stuff that I don't even understand fully. But what were we talking? Oh, Jesus! You said about picking sides.
Yeah.
Jesus in the Bible, there was two sides fighting between the Pharisees and Sadducees. The Pharisees, as I understand it, believe that there is resurrection from the dead, and the Sadducees do not. And most of the Pharisees did not like Jesus, but the Pharisees and Sadducees both did not like Jesus, but Jesus did not spiritually get on the side of the Pharisees, but he said that they are correct on this issue about the resurrection from the dead. And so the Pharisees were like, yeah, Jesus agrees with us over the Sadducees.
Yeah.
So there's times when one side has more facts to their side, such as, the whites who are complaining about these different things. Some of their complaints are legitimate. They're right about a lot of what they're saying. They're just wrong about being angry.
Yeah.
Did I read Sean's vomit emoji to your Nikki Haley suggestion?
Nah.
Yeah, Sean gave a vomit emoji when you said Nikki Haley should be the VP to Trump in order to push him over the edge to beat Biden, Kamala Harris, which we don't even know if Trump is going to be the pick. We don't know if Biden and Kamala are going to be the pick, really.
Yeah, we do. We know who's on that side, and as far we don't know who the Republican will be, because the issue is if Trump is the only name on the ballot and he ends up going to jail, there's nobody that can get on the ballot as a Republican after the deadlines have passed in all those states.
But
so
going to jail doesn't
can't
preclude you from getting voted for.
Of course, people can still try to vote for him, but they're not going to let him out. Even if he does manage to get 270 electoral votes, they're not just going to let him out of jail and say you're the president now. That's not how it's going to work.
Oh. Well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Ballot access is a thing, and people have been removed from the ballot or not being able to get to assume the office that they may have been elected to just because their legal troubles got in the way.
Huh.
But if the Republican Party is going to last into the 2030s, they need to kind of focus on the future of the party and who's going to be the leader instead of everybody just putting all their eggs in one basket, and that basket being a basket case.
I would encourage the Republican Party to return to self-examination and get our values, hold to the values of right over wrong, and stop kissing up to being popular.
I 1,000% agree with you. I have an uncle that was a Republican, and I know he wouldn't be supporting the Republican Party the way it is today. Because they don't necessarily show those values. If the Republican Party can get back to those GOP principles, you could see a resurgence. But with not having clarity on who's going to be the running mate, and as important as that running mate is, like when you mentioned Reagan's vice presidential pick became president, and then after that you had 8 years of Democrats to close out the millennium.
Yeah.
If he had picked somebody stronger, now you can keep a snowball going, and then you can keep getting Republicans over and over. And that's how Virginia did it when the country started. They kept putting good guys up for president, so they kept winning.
Huh.
And they kept saying, why is the president always from Virginia? Because there's always a good person that's coming from Virginia that's either going to win wars, expand territories. So if you could keep getting Republicans to head that presidential and vice presidential ticket, you could see power there instead of having a Democrat come in and make everybody mad.
Well, thank you, Ronnie in Ohio. Appreciate you, man. Have a nice weekend.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Sir. Have a good weekend.
You too. Okay. Wow. Oh, my goodness. I'm happy. Do you know why I'm happy? Because Joel Friday is not coming up. So I have an extra 5 minutes, maybe. It's terrible. Joel Friday TV is live. Wow. Joel Friday. Joel Friday TV is live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. But thankfully, in Hake's case, I didn't realize that I'd blown this much time. He's not live today. But check him out. Let me plug him in the chat. American Anchor Baby is live at 4 p.m. roughly, right? Nick, the American Anchor Baby. For Nick's stream, it's always a vibe. I encourage you to check it out. We have The Fallen State coming up. We have Church with Jesse Lee Peterson on Sunday. Shout out to the men who came to the men's forum, and the guys, I guess some of us are males, who came to the men's forum. Shout out, guys. That was a great meeting. So So that's cool. I have some beautiful music to share with you, Frog Eyes Friday. But first, I got to get to Mr. Pink in California. I'll just try to get through these calls, guys. Mr. Pink, what's up? How you doing?
How you doing, buddy?
Hey.
I know you ain't got much time. I just hit a couple points.
Sure.
While I was listening to the last call, I just had a little note, and this is what I think will be the best pick, and I'm not gonna go into mad detail about it. I think because of the person that would have the most eyes on them to be the VP pick, and have the most appeal to Trump's base, and I think it's the guy that's been buddying up to Trump at the golf courses and things like that. From what I can see, the best pick to have the most notice would be Tucker Carlson.
Oh wow!
I think that guy he's very on the same base. He's very anti illegal immigration. He's got all these points that he agrees with the base on. So I think he would be good just on that.
But he's just on the TV. Unlike Trump, who ran businesses and did deals. He's
right, but a lot of Trump's reach had to do with the social media thing, right? And so Twitter has.
I do appreciate
Tucker's show on Twitter. He has a lot of notice and eyes on him.
Yeah, he's pretty. He has what seems like a spiritual brightness and love for the truth and fairness.
Yeah, and he's got the youth. And I think he hasn't delved into the political side, so obviously he has that same appeal that Trump did of coming from the outside to the end of he's not part of the Washington D.C. swamp, as we would say.
Yeah, I don't see it happening, but I do love.
I could be wrong.
I could
be wrong. I just think that I would totally respect that, and that would definitely solidify my vote, as if it's not already 100% for Trump.
Right.
Anyway,
cool.
Anyway, just on that Ape-rae talk, and friends of Trump and things that we're dealing with. I don't know if you've seen any of that Vince McMahon stuff or been privy to what's come out about that.
I've only heard things here and there. I don't know. But Vince McMahon, the WWE guy.
I know you're not probably a wrestling follower or anything like that.
Yeah.
So I got a big truck driving by. Worst timing ever. So the thing is of course it hasn't been adjudicated yet. And I'm a big wrestling fan. I've been watching this guy's content and the things and stories and stuff that he creates for years and years. And I just I don't want to believe this stuff. But I definitely read the court documents that they filed, and it looks pretty gnarly. It's not exactly the best. He was sending, content to, the tech crew and sharing, the girl with other executives and all sorts of mess. And,
what made you read that stuff?
What made me read it is because I'm always following wrestling. I'm always following,
and this is pro wrestling.
What goes on?
The fake entertainment
the
wrestling.
Fake fighting.
It's fake, but they're very strong guys. And
that takes a lot of skill and it takes a lot of commitment to entertaining the fans to do all that stuff. It's not going to feel good to fall through a table.
Do you care? I mean, do you hold it against him that he may have had some issues?
well, no, but it's at the same time, it's I've seen him put storylines on TV that he was personally involved in that were kind of seedy and weird. And I remember being in my teens and 20s and being why is he putting this as part of it? It has nothing to do with the competition or any of that. It's just weird stuff involving his family, and I don't know. But the thing is, I don't want to believe that, especially since it hasn't been tried and adjudicated. I don't want that to be the thing, because I've been once again watching this guy's product for years and years, and that kind of is weird.
People have their issues, and
yeah, exactly. And
is it a victimization? Is this whole thing a victim woman thing?
Yeah. Well, I was reading it, and then I'm okay.
And when you
woman, you got yourself into this situation,
The women
don't don't act because he apparently offered her a fake kind of job when she was having struggles, and then eventually that became there wasn't really a job. It was just that she was expected to basically be his whatever his minx.
So they were using each other, and now she's putting it all out there against him.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh, I didn't like it at the time, but I just went with it." And it's like, but you were still there.
If you went with it, then
not
you were,
do that.
Yeah, if you went with it, then you're kind of victimizing each other, using each other. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Whatever.
So it's once again, I don't want to, jump to conclusions and stuff, but of course, all the wrestling podcast talking heads and people that have worked with him throughout the years are all like, oh, this is a tarnish on his legacy and all this and that. I'm like, just jumping to conclusions. It hasn't even been tried, and no one's been found guilty of anything yet.
Okay, here's the other thing. Here's the other thing,
jumping
man.
to conclusions about Trump and Biden and Tara Reid and all that.
Right.
It's like, wait and see. Jesse said, have a wait and see attitude.
Yep. And honestly, it doesn't concern you. It doesn't concern me. The only reason that you're having these feelings about it is because you've attached yourself, your ego, to this man who put out great content for so many years, and you appreciate him and you admire him, and you don't want to find out that he's a fallen state human being or whatever. And so,
but then
so it matters to you too much.
What am I worried about,
Yeah, watch yourself. It's a good opportunity to watch yourself. Don't get sucked in either way. Because you don't want to overly defend him. You just want to just say, just be for the truth, whatever.
Just like, once again, wait and see attitude.
Yeah, because I have not. I mean, I heard something that sounded gross, and I haven't been interested in even looking into it. I was never really into the wrestling thing. I had nothing really against it. I remember as a kid, oh, this is so fake. But my friends
I've
liked
always
it.
known that it was fake, but I just like the entertainment value and what I really respect about all of it, like on just a side wrestling note, is that, okay, these guys are putting themselves through a lot just to entertain an audience, whether it's staged or choreographed or whatever. It's like, that takes a lot of skill. And I
got to run, man.
Commitment.
Mr. Pink, appreciate you, man. Take care.
Much love, Hake. Have a good week.
All right. Bye. Guys, I got to end. This track is Frog Eyes Friday. It is Masticated Outboard Motors from 2004, Ego Scriptor. Adios, America. Bye. Mark in Los Angeles wanted to talk about Haley, worst pick. JD Vance, maybe.
Here's a charter without mates, while the beaches are cold. Set their branches so they burn like gold, and bold sensations for the broken house urchins by their shows. I thought about it, fairies and ballers, and maybe
Rick.
we're headed for the bottom frozen lake.
In Hampton, Virginia.
Sons of divorce, I feel my kinda.
Call me next week, guys.
Speeding blood up on Ninth Star. What for, dear? What for, Vanishka? Tell me what for. Hold the lines and blow your feathers right for the birthday. Oh, I fought the radar. I fought the radar. Well, the city that you love is a magistrate of nightmare. Famous lakes. Oh, we
Someone with your coffee? I'll read it Monday.
Set upon where your face. I fought the radar. We'll all up all the backs of breakers. Anybody you're thinking of? We built the cities. La 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 la.
Canadian band, baby.
We hate the front lines. We hate the front lines. We hate them. Oh, mastication. We hate the front lines. We hate the front lines. We hate them. Mastication. We hate the front lines. We hate the front lines. Oh, we hate them. Oh, mastication. We hate the front lines. We hate the front lines. We hate them.
So good. Adios, America. Bye.